Today is December 17th, 2025. 8 days to Christmas. Hope you guys are shopping, getting your stuff.
Yeah, right.
I'm here with Franklin Pierce Shine Sr. And of course, this is Frank Rio Jr. So, Dad, tell me earliest memories of your parents and what you know about your family, mother's side, and what you know about her history, and then the father's side, if you don't mind. Kick off that way.
Well, the earliest would be about 1939, 38, 39. Yes.
Right.
Yes. We moved to Pocatella, Idaho,
From
from Oklahoma. Now, exactly where in Oklahoma, I don't know.
But you were born in Frogsville.
Well, born in Frogsville, Oklahoma, wherever that is. And upon arriving in Pocatello, I remember that it was, let's see, there was five, six of us, I guess. The older girls and boys had gone. Well, the oldest Bertha had died 2 years old from pneumonia.
Mm.
And so that was Bernice and Helen, James and Joe and Clarence were gone.
Mm.
So that left us, what, Bob, Bill, Oscar, Charles, myself, and Marie.
And Marie. Mm-hmm.
That were moved to Pocatello, Idaho. With Mom, I don't know much of anything about Dad other than what I was told, because he had died when I was, 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I never knew him. The only information I have from him regarding him is from the older siblings and Mom.
His birth date and his death date, do you know?
Yeah, I know that.
Roughly.
His birth date was August 25th, 1894.
Okay.
And Mom's birthday was December 5th, 1896. When it comes to Dad's side of the family, I know very little about the sciences.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked at trying to get information, but it's not very much information I get. I was able to run into or find on the internet, Facebook specifically, a cousin, Caroline Shine, who lives in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And met her through the Facebook. And Constance met also Oscar, her uncle, which would have been my uncle also, because her dad, Johnny Shines, the blues singer, was in the information I had from a letter that was sent to me from a cousin. Well, it came to me not directly, but indirectly to. She sent it to my sister Helen, and she in turn gave it to me. And that's when I found out about Johnny Shines, that he was a brother of my dad, grandson. And that's pretty much it. As far as I see a lot of Shineses on the internet and stuff, but I don't know that much about them. I talked to or emailed or texted either one, but it's limited information because I'm the youngest, next to the youngest, and information that I have is limited. From my knowledge of the Shineses. With Mom, it's a little bit different. I have met a lot of her, I guess it would be her nephews, most of them in Connecticut, New Haven, Connecticut. I've been there for a couple of their family reunions way back a number of years back, where I met Cecil. And they're the Estes, which came from Mom's sisters who married a man named Estes. I can't remember.
ESTES, huh?
Estes, yeah. And then there were some Burdens that I met. My uncle, only one uncle that I met, that was Uncle Bill. In Berkeley, used to live in Berkeley. He's passed away now.
He was Bill Burton?
Bill Burton. Mm-hmm. He was a minister, pastor there in Berkeley. And I met, in retrospect now, I remember meeting a Shine. His name was Shine. All of them didn't have an S on it, but a Shine, and his name was Frank Shine. And so I met him in California, where they are now. I haven't the longest idea. This is back in the 60s. I met him, I think it was 60s or early 70s. No, it couldn't have been 70s. In the 60s, late 60s or somewhere in that area.
Right.
But Mom, well, her name, of course, her maiden name was Burden, and it was spelled Burden. Because we remember asking her when we were kids, how do you spell their last name? And she spelled it, it's like burden, like a load. So that's how I remember how it wasn't Burton. It was burden. It's a load, carrying a load. We stayed in Pocatella for until about, it was 1940, 41 or 42. And we moved to Idaho Falls, Idaho.
So you were then, what, 5 years oldish?
About 5 years old, yeah. And remember living up there for a while. And that's when I first met one of my brothers, my older brothers, Joe Cephas, begin with. This had to be in 1940. Let's see, the war ended in 45. So yeah, 45. So I remember that specifically, standing out, looking down the old dirt road in Idaho Falls, a house set up sort of on a hill. And there's this guy walking up the road in a Army uniform, the old olive drab uniform. And that boat cap. And I didn't know who he was. He got up to the house. How he knew, I don't know how he knew where we were. Maybe he kept in contact with Mom or something. I haven't the foggiest.
Right.
But when he got there, Mom came to the door, came out on the porch, and she introduced me to my brother, Cephas. That's what we called him, Cephas. We never called him Joe. We always called him Cephas, and up till I was junior high school.
Right.
It was always Cephas. And that's how I met him. We lived there in Idaho Falls about, let's see, well, we moved to Boise in I don't remember exactly what date was. It must have been in the spring or summer because there wasn't any snow. And I remember traveling by car, all of us in that little car. I can't remember who, some member, preacher or somebody helped move us to Boise, Idaho. And we ended up in Boise, Idaho on Pioneer Street.
And that was
That was in 1945.
okay. So not long after you. So then now you got roughly 5 or 6 of you plus now Josephus.
Huh?
So he just got back from the war, right?
Right.
So so he rode with you guys, drove with you guys?
No,
Or
he
did
didn't.
they?
He did not. He did not.
Okay.
It was just the six of us and mom and whoever it was that was driving the car
Right. Okay.
to Boise. And we stayed there on Pioneer Street. So house there. Not sure what else you want on it. I just said Bernie.
So yeah, if you want to start with your oldest sibling, and obviously one died at 2 years old, but if you want to just yeah, give us a quick little snapshot of each
Oh, okay. Well,
your siblings.
Bernice was the oldest at that time. Bertha Bernice was her name. When I met her, she was married to a guy named Lee Rice.
Okay.
And they lived upon what? It was River Street. River Street, and shortly after we settled into Boise, they started moving in. The older ones started coming in. Bernice moved to Boise. She was initially I understand, in Pocatella.
Oh.
As well as Helen, who was the next oldest. Now Bernice, when I met her, this was in Pocatello.
Right.
Initially, because she had a daughter. She had a daughter named Claudia. And she was what, around Charles's age. She was older than I. And Bernice gave her up to a person that lived around the corner from us. I don't remember the people's name. Marie would know. But we would go by there to play with Claudia. And a woman would run us away. She didn't. She would call her in the house. And so then later on, we don't know what happened to her, but she disappeared. They moved out of Boise, Pocatello. Never heard from them until later in life. Marie and I had been searching for Claudia via the internet and other places that we could find. Marie actually did most of it. She contacted I think she found out that she was in the Army, and she contacted them, and in that way, that's how we got to find out where Claudia was at that time. And she was already married and had children too, but we did get together for a number of years until she passed. She had MS.
Oh, really?
And so that was Bernice's daughter, Helen. Again, she was in Pocatello also, and after we moved to Boise, they followed. She and Bernice, actually Clarence, and Joey eventually moved to Boise. So most of us grew up there in the Boise area. Helen, she had 2 children. Lyra, her oldest, and Anita, and 3 children, excuse me. Louise, the youngest. Of the 3, there's only one living. Louise is still alive, and she lives in Philadelphia with her son. And she has rather sickly But other than that, I talk to her every now and then. Um, but Helen moved there and to Louise and Nita and Lyra. We all were like brothers and sisters, although they were my nieces. And we stayed at the same house because we all didn't have that much in those days. All of us kids lived there in Mom's house, and actually Helen lived there, and her husband, who was her husband? Henry. Henry
Right.
Browning. Henry Browning. And so all of us that just grew up in Boise, Idaho. We went to school in Boise.
Right.
And graduated from high school. The majority of all of us did. Yeah, all of us did. And the other one was from Helen, there became James. James was the oldest of the boys. It was a long while before I met him because he was in the Army.
Okay.
And
So now we got the list up. So let's see if I can get this to be a little larger here. Okay, so Helen obviously is not in this picture.
none of the girls.
Aunt Marie is not.
Right. Bernice is
and
not.
Bernice is not. But okay, if you're
But they're in there someplace.
yeah, we'll find it.
Yeah.
But okay, let's go through the boys first. Then
What do you want to do?
in order that you were
talking
yeah.
about?
Mhm.
Okay. James isn't there. He would have been on the right side of Joe, the first one on the left. There, that's Joe. He's the second oldest boy.
Okay.
And there was Clarence. They talked about Joe, Clarence, James. We were talking about James, though, right?
Yeah.
He was the one that's in the Army. He wasn't on there. And he was stationed in Japan at the time.
Okay.
If I recall correctly. So he was a cook, a chef.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
He came to Boise. I know he moved to Boise. Oh Lord, probably the 50s.
Okay.
Maybe 50s. But I can't tell you too much about
That's no
those
problem.
older ones.
Yeah, no trouble.
Clarence.
Mhm.
Uh,
So there's Joe there, and then Clarence.
Clarence is the next one on his left. They're going to
On his
from
left,
left to
okay.
right. Yeah, and that's Clarence. He lived in Boise for a while. I am not sure exactly how long it was when he left and moved back to Pocatella.
Right.
And so he was he worked for the railroad as a what's those people on conductor, not conductor. Yeah, I guess it was conductor. I think it was conductor, but I'm not sure. But that's what his job was. He worked on the railroad there in Boise, Pocatella. From Pocatella, they rode from Pocatella to Boise and other places. So he was.
That was pretty much in the 50s.
Yeah, in the 50s. He was married, had a daughter named Gloria, who lives in Charlotte, North Carolina now.
Okay.
And it's with her and her family. She was married to a pro football coach.
That's Charles. So anything else that say that you remember?
Clarence.
I'm sorry, Clarence. I meant Clarence.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's not that much that I remember about him as far as goes. He was. Let's see, what can I say about him? I don't know.
Okay.
Not much.
Then after
Named Robert.
Here's Bob.
He was one of from Bob all the way to the left, down to me. were the ones that went from Idaho Falls to Boise.
Okay.
Now, Marie would be on my left.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was there. So Bob, he was a cool man.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up together in Boise there on Pioneer Street. And he taught me how to whistle, actually.
The whistle.
He could whistle.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill, he always had to put his finger in his mouth to whistle. He never did, and I didn't. But Bob was let's see, at that time he worked at a pharmacy called Blue Latimer. There downtown on Main Street.
Right.
Yeah, on Main Street in Boise. We love to pump your head. He was the coolest one. That was my favorite brother, Bob was. And he would have a big old bicycle, and both he and Bill had bicycles, and Charles and I and Marie, we would, when they weren't there, we'd jump on and ride them. Mm-hmm. So they raised this, Bob, he raised the seat up so high you couldn't. He was explaining to me. And so, but he was good. He was a good guy.
So what's the story? So he's a pharmacist, and how did he ultimately get the pictures of the military, the war, after the war, and seeing them in San Francisco? So what was his story?
He and Bill, they went into the military together in 54, I think it was. 54? I think it's 54, somewhere in 50 or 50. I got it in front of the information someplace. But the two of them, they went into the Army engineers. And they served together all during their time in the Army.
Over in Germany,
in Germany, yes, they were stationed in Germany. When they come home, Marie and I, we would listen to them talk and speaking in German, and we picked up a lot of German at that time. Bob, eventually, when he got out of the service, they both got out at the same time. I can't remember the exact date. They were in, 3 or 4 years together. And he moved to San Francisco. It was in this, after he got out of the Army. I think it was in the late 50s or early 50s, mid 50s.
Yeah.
When he and Bill got out of the Army, and Bob subsequently moved to San Francisco. It had to be in the late 50s, mid 50s when he did. I graduated from high school in 57, and I went to Fort Ord, California. And it was during basic training that Bob got married to a lady named Jean. And I tried to get leave to go to the wedding, but I couldn't. They wouldn't let me go. But I did get to go to his afterwards as a reception or something, or it's
right
from Fort Ord. And that's when I met Gene, but Bob was there, and he would go out. I was not 21 yet. And so he took me out to the clubs, and he got a little upset at me because I didn't have a license that would show an age, so he gave me his. And I put my wallet in my front pocket and his in the back, where I kept them. And when they asked me for ID, I went into my front pocket and gave them, so we couldn't go into that bar. And he said, "You big dummy." That was one of his favorite words.
Yeah, I heard it many times.
Dummy.
You big dummy.
Yeah.
Boy.
But he, again, was probably my most favorite of all the boys. Bill, he was a cook. He cooked in the Army, and he got out. He worked in Boise for a while at the Hawaii Hotel. He was a chef there, a baker, baker, and a chef. Yeah. And he married a lady named Billie Jean. They were from Arkansas, I think. Matter of fact, her mother, Burnell, Joe married her. So we always made fun of Bill because we tease him and say, well, you got your brother is your stepfather and your brother, and so on and so forth, because he married Joe's wife, Donna, but Billie Jean. And but he taught me how to drive. Actually, he had this car. He had a couple of cars, different cars, but the one that he taught me to drive, I think it was his 1955 Chevy.
Right.
And then down along the road, Boise River. And so that's how I learned how to drive. And when I went into the service, the night before I went into service, he loaned me his car so I could go out and party. And I did. And up in Garden City, a little town up west of Boise. And up there partying, and then coming back, we were on the road. Was that Fairway? Not Fairway. Can't remember the name of that street. But at any rate, there's another guy, he came up, he was driving, and we stopped at the signal light. The light was changed, so we stopped there, and he revved his engine and looked at me, and I revved and looked at him, and we took off. And the police was waiting for us. So now this was the night before I was going into the Army. And
bad judgment.
Bad judgment. I had to go to court. They took my license. So all during the time that I was in the Army, I didn't have a civilian license. And that was a penalty on that too, but that's another story. But anyway, Bill, when I came back, he had moved to Moses Lake, Washington. And that's where he stayed. He was
the fish, crappie.
Yeah.
Big mouth bad.
We all did. So did Joe. Joe loved fish too. All of us loved fish.
Oh, yeah. Fishing.
Bill, he was a baker instructor over at the military base. I can't remember the name, but he taught people those guys how to cook, make.
Right.
So that's what he did until he retired in Boise. In Spokane. Not Spokane. Moses Lake. Moses Lake. And all these places mixed up. So that's, let's see. And then he had eight children.
Okay.
8 or 9 children, 6 boys. Let's see. I know they had 3 girls. So it must have been 5 boys and 3 girls. Yeah. And we always conversed, all of the whole family, we would talk. We would call. And that was during time, long distance. You had to pay for long distance calls. Yes. But we always kept in touch. Clarence lived in Pocatella. We called him and he called us, and so on and so forth. After that, Bill came Oscar, and Oscar was different as far as his mannerisms were concerned. We sort of, we always talk, well, he was afraid of the white man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the image that we have of him, because when we go someplace, he was always cowing, or not cowing, but afraid. And when we would go fishing and drive his boat, he unloading his boat at the pier dock. He'd sit there and he wouldn't go until the white guys went first. He said, "What's wrong with you, boy?" But that was Oscar. But he was an electrician. I remember him in Boise, growing up in Boise. He was the Boise, and then also, yeah, Boise. He was the neighborhood repair person. He just was natural at it. And so he did that, and then he went to school, got his, I think he had a degree. I'm not sure of that, but he worked, and then they moved to Spokane.
Right.
He and his wife, Kat, and their kids. He had about 5 or 6 kids too.
That's when we had the big reunion out there.
Yeah.
In this place up in Spokane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but he worked at Deaconess Hospital as a head electrician. He was in charge of that whole area,
right,
of maintaining every electrical. And he was smart. He invented a few things, but he didn't take advantage of it. But and I guess the next name is Charles. He went into the Air Force before he got out of high school, actually. And I remember we lived there in Boise, there on Grove Street. And I remember having to go to the school to clear everything out, because he had left, just up and left and went to the Air Force.
Right.
So Mom sent me in to take care of that. And he was in the Air Force, I guess, what, 6 years maybe?
Right.
And he played ball, all kinds of sports. He played sports in the Air Force. He traveled all over the place, and he was good. As a matter of fact, there's some things I left out of those, because all of us, from Bob, Bill, Oscar, Charles, and I,
you guys played some ball, huh?
we played. We were the only kids that played with the men's team in Boise on the softball teams. Oscar was the catcher. Charles and I, we pitched and played second and first base.
Right.
Bob played first base. Now we were kids. The oldest one, I guess. Well, there were some others, a couple of other guys, white guys that were good friends of ours. We played ball together, and so they were about Bob and Bill's and Oscar's age. Charles and I were probably the youngest ones. But we played under the lights, softball, with the men's team. We got to experience and see a lot of the softball pros, or I guess they were pros, because they were Eddie Feiner and his 4-man team, and the Harlem Clowns, and played donkey ball, and it was quite an experience growing up there in Boise, because Boise was a softball team. They loved it, playing nights and all that. It was great. So we were on that.
So around that time, what would you say was the age spread? Youngest to you being the youngest to the oldest? How old were you at the time?
I was 13, 14, maybe.
My daughter, Rachel, wanting the car. Oh, all right, go ahead. I'll catch up with it.
But yeah, Bob was probably the oldest of us that was playing. Uh, Charles and I, again, were about the youngest ones, but we're about Charles. I must have been about 13, 14,
Right. Mm-hmm.
maybe. So that would mean Charles would be about 16. No, it wasn't that old. No, they weren't that old. We weren't that old.
Yes, Rachel, you're being recorded in a big historical event. Go ahead.
Are you not on your way back yet?
I'm going to be on my way here shortly if you can let me get off the call. On my way. So that's our 16-year-old daughter. That's a teen. Welcome to teens. Okay.
So anyway, that's the age was probably we weren't finished school yet. None of us was finished school. Um, Bob and Bill were in, I think, junior and high.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was in about the
Okay.
seventh
Got the
grade,
basic
eighth
idea.
grade.
Yep. Mhm.
But anyway, we were very young, playing ball with the men's team there at Boise.
Okay.
Charles,
Yeah, back to
back to him. He was,
Mhm.
like I said, he was in the Air Force. He
Mhm.
traveled all over the place playing ball. He was a terrific softball pitcher
Mm.
and ping pong player. We used to play ping pong all the time. He and I, we'd go up to the YMCA and play. And we would drink a lot of pop because we put these guys that came on there and wanted to play us. And we tear them up. And so then, because they wanted to play for a soda pop. So we did that. But Charles was, I always wanted to be as good as he was. I wasn't bad, but he was good in playing ball, baseball, basketball,
Right.
all of it. We were all pretty close together. We played together, but yeah, he was, and he was taller than I too. So that made a difference there too.
So he came back from the Air Force, and what did he
came back.
Or did he come back to the same Idaho? Or
He came back, but I was not there. I think I was living in California at that time.
Mhm.
He's blind. He got blind. He's still trying to get benefit from the VA.
Really?
Yeah, he's glaucoma in the Army, and so he's going through that now. And he lives in Boise. He moved back to Boise, so he's been in Boise for a number of years.
Right.
And so that's
Very good.
how I did with him.
Yeah, I remember him. He strike me as like Uncle Bob. He was just funny as hell.
Yeah, he's
Really funny.
Really funny.
What? You remember we were driving, he's blind. He said, "You're gonna miss your turn up here." Like he's knowing what he can see. I said, "Well, what?" All sorts of crazy stuff. You know,
Yeah.
about the railroads too. You mentioned Clarence working on the railroad, but he mentioned some things that he remembers around the whole railroad building and the Chinese that came out working on railroads, all sorts of. He's still telling some stories about that as well. It was really interesting, kind of historical perspective. But
yeah, I remember it was post-war, but they had the concentration camps up in the hills there, the Japanese.
Right.
And they would come around through Boise and all over the place and pick up Japanese and take them up and put them in the concentration camps because they were afraid. We never had any trouble with anyone.
Yeah.
They were, and I think the last time I was up in that area, they still had those camps. They were old and stuff, dilapidated, but they were there.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy history.
Yeah.
I remember in San Francisco, because I was in the military and Air Force, and I remember flying over some of the areas, and you could see spots where they had like this green mesh that covered up certain spots. Camouflage, exactly. And it was still on top of the roofs and things like that. That was probably, I guess, back in the 70s. And yeah, because I was only there, and we were down in the 70s and early 80s, maybe. Well, great. And then, of course, that's Dad. I've got a lot of stuff about you. You've got your book. I've got a lot of information about Aunt Marie, so I'll take it from there.
Okay.
But I think this is a really great start. I appreciate you taking a little time. And
Anytime. Yes.
I will pull everything together. It's going to be part of Slave House to White House. It talks about both the Shines side of the family and my mom's side, the Stroud side of the family. So, all right. Thanks everybody for listening in, and thanks, Dad. Appreciate it.
Oh, okay.
Very cool. Crazy Rachel. Oh, there you
Ever get home before you get whooped.
Yeah, just here we go.